Good morning. We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, stay with this channel. Stay with us. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, don't forget to hit the like button or leave a comment. All right, let's welcome who's here at our new time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Corey, good morning. Memes are the only thing keeping me in the game this week. Flo is here. Daniel plays paintball. Good morning. Brandon, Jelster, Thin Bazaar, Miguel, Arendam, welcome. All right. Am I feeling better today? Yes, I am. I am definitely feeling better today about the market, although I would like to get the market going a little bit. Okay, Saeed is asking for TA on BTC short term. I have that. Double X breakfast roll. Welcome. Tom Harold, Cabo, good morning. Okay, I am diving into some news. Let's go. Okay, so for your morning economic, disaster stuff, 401k contributions are now over. I'm surprised 401k contributions haven't been over earlier. This is truly a sign that people, like even in that 100k area of income, just don't have the disposable income, and people are pulling money from every source they can to try to keep up. Okay. Now, here's an interesting little trade. Copper. Copper is supposed to be a big deal for artificial intelligence. They can't build all the hardware that they need without copper. So Goldman Sachs commodities traders or ex-Goldman commodities research analysts have said copper is the most compelling trade that they've ever seen long term, which could be true. Copper has gone up a lot, but it's funny how all of a sudden a news article appears that the Chinese have a glut of copper because their economy is slowing to a crawl. So if you have the US, Europe, Japan, and China all having separate types of economic problems, okay, this is a recipe for an event later on. Again, with copper in Wall Street, we call it Dr. Copper. Copper is always kind of an early warning signal. It's down, and we'll see if it can recover. Okay, Elon is planning to add a payments network to X. All right, this makes me believe Doge matters. Right, I can't believe he's not going to want to accept an appreciating cryptocurrency or potentially appreciating cryptocurrency for Teslas rather than dollars. And of course, if Doge is also running across X's network, that is not factored into price. Now let's talk about something good. Benjamin Cohen has, Bitcoin back sort of at his version of moving averages, which is a nice way of saying Bitcoin is at chart support in one form or another. So right now, Bitcoin is not the problem. Obviously, demand for the ETF is absorbing any selling by whales. Okay, so Bitcoin is not the problem. And frankly, hopefully, there is no problem. We don't know why people are selling. I'm a little bit less wound up about it today because there's an opportunity for the market to at least stabilize or go higher. We'll talk more about that in a second. Okay, the SEC ends the probe over Ethereum. So, of course, this was always stupid because Ethereum is a commodity per the CFTC. It's not a security. So you can't have the CFTC telling you it's a commodity. You can't have an Ethereum ETF and then simultaneously come down on Ethereum and say, oh yeah, it's a security And that's a problem with, a whole range of assets, Uniswap being one of them. So this is over, and Gensler goes off into the sunset with a whimper. The big question is, why is the market not much higher over this? Shouldn't it be? I would think so, honestly, right? I mean, this is like the end of Gensler permanently. All right. So the new thing also when the market's going down is you get hyperbole upside targets, which I'm not opposed to. Best time to publish hyperbole upside targets is when the market is down. Bernstein predicts spot Bitcoin ETF is near, right? Well, so Bernstein predicts ETFs and a major wirehouse maintains 200,000 target. Okay. So yes, the Bitcoin ETF has obviously been approved, right? But the $200,000 price target makes sense. And when you think about a $200,000 price target for Bitcoin, you have to ask yourself, what does the world look like when we get there? Okay. NVIDIA stocks continue to go up. Big cap tech stocks go up and up and up every day. And you know what? I have a chart that I got from somebody who I used to work with that says they may continue to go up versus the rest of the stock market. Mr. Market has decided to park money in big cap tech stocks. And that theoretically, that could continue. So NVIDIA's rise as the most valuable global company used by Peter Schiff to kind of diss crypto's utility. Like Bitcoin needs to follow gold, but gold doesn't necessarily need Bitcoin. Now, Mr. Schiff is getting annoying because, sometimes he looks more right every day. Gold doesn't move, and the gyrations in crypto, frankly, are flat out disturbing. The crypto market is collapsing. All right, so there's good news about this headline is the fact that the bearish news actually is making a headline like, oh my God, it's crashing and it's going to zero. Normally, you want to see the media bearish. You want to see the media bearish, right, in order to get a real reversal. Now, in the case of the current market, you have this sort of like, very hesitant bottom, right? It's like, it's not ripping, like DGen is ripping and NEAR is going up. And thank God for DGen. Okay. But like I said, you want to have the media bearish. That is in favor of the bulls. So Bitcoin block size at the yearly low. This could be because of the halving. Okay. Runes continue to show strong activity. So Bitcoin is not the problem, right? Bitcoin and crypto-related stocks are ripe for institutional adoption, according to Bernstein. Okay. Large private bank platforms in the third and fourth quarter will be adopting the Bitcoin ETF. So let's address Bitcoin ETF FUD before we go into this. The way to FUD the Bitcoin ETF is to note that most of it is owned by hedge fund and self-directed retail accounts. The flood from pension funds, the flood from advisors recommending it is not there yet. Now, advisors really can't recommend anything except the S&P. A lot of people don't know that. That's compliance departments. So you have to take multiple exams just to tell people to put their money in S&P. Sounds funny. So that's not the reason to FUD the Bitcoin ETF. And of course, Bernstein is noting that all this problem with our debt, regardless of who gets elected president, there's going to be a logical or perhaps an urgent reason why you're going to want to invest in Bitcoin. Now, is that day here today? No, it's not. But Bernstein is right. Just like last year, whatever we have to live through over the summer, once it ends, it's all going up. It's all going vertical. And this time it's going to go up and stay up. Right? It's a trend that may last over a long period of time. Okay, so green light. right? Possibly July, maybe September for the Ethereum ETF. I'm sure if you were an institution, you're probably looking at the market going, hey, how nice of you guys to cheapen it all up for me. Very nice. Thank you. Right. I mean, I thought these guys were going to have to pay 4,000. Now they may be buying it at 3,300. And if the market gets messy, it could be 3,100. Clearly in Ethereum, as we'll see in the chart section, the market needs to prove that it can sustain higher prices, meaning people need to come in and go, oh yeah, I missed the low and now I want it. Like, I don't just want Solana at 140 or 138. I want it at 160. That's what we need to see to get busy, right? Generally speaking, when it comes to Ethereum, when it comes to this court case being dropped and it comes to the ETF, I just would think things would be a little bit more bullish, especially since I don't know why the market went down and I don't know what's holding it from going up. I'm not going to cry about it like yesterday, but the simple fact of the matter is we don't know why the market went down and we don't know why it's not ripping to the upside. Okay, so Kraken now has Popcat. Okay, exciting news. I like Popcat. However, I don't think meme coins should be the number one thing on your mind at this point, but I could be wrong. Okay. Okay. The Ethereum ETF demand will not be dampened because of lack of staking. I don't think anybody is going to buy the ETF or not buy the ETF or not have an ETF because of the staking issue, right? In other words, the SEC wasn't going to allow the ETF holders to buy the Ethereum that backed the ETF and then stake it to get interest. That was never going to happen, right? Ever, because of what happened in 2022. Okay. All right. So here's something from Willy Woo on breaking news on Bitcoin. The solid yellow chart is a Z-score oscillator looking at how significant paper bets on Bitcoin are locally. Okay. So Willie thinks we need a solid amount of liquidations before we get all clear for further bullish activity. Okay. So apparently this is people who are long Bitcoin, according to Willie. And he's like, you know what? We still need a major purge before we can get going. And, you know, if you look at the market does trade very long, right? It trades like, you know, it goes down, but then there's no rally. Now, in stuff like DGen, right? DGen went all the way down, like forced selling. And then once the forced selling stopped at a support point, which worked surprisingly well, it goes up 35%. And then that allows you to evaluate whether or not you're holding that position or whether you're going to rotate out into something else. Okay. And of course, there is this guy saying consumers are already in a recession. So this goes back to this whole thing about rate cuts. I can't believe everybody thinks that this is, you know, higher rates forever. I remember the 70s. I was a little kid. Washington is repeating all of the 1970s mistake: federal spending, cheap money for Wall Street, and endless wars that make us less safe. Okay, now speaking of less safe, let's talk about this Trump coin. So as I've said over and over again, this thing is like a mortal wound to my heart because I really thought these political meme coins were going to be like the next evolution of the space, as in the meme coin space, right? We did dogs and cats, and then for whatever stupid reason, we had to do celebrities as the market was going down. That was a major cringe factor. And now we have this very strange situation where somebody comes out and takes the Donald Trump Truth Social stock symbol, makes a Trump coin out of it, and then claims it's affiliated with him And now it's apparently affiliated with his son and, two controversial figures. So I am asking myself, I'm looking at this and I'm like, why would anybody create something that could be affiliated with the president who is massively pro crypto, like massively, like he's bending over backwards. He's making so many promises that he can't possibly go back on it without losing a substantial amount of face, right? They do this to him and he doesn't have to comment on it, but it's kind of an embarrassment to him, right? It's like, hey, somebody makes kind of a questionable meme coin when there's multiple meme coins already out there. I mean, Kraken listed Trump, MAGA had a huge, the Trump symbol had a huge market cap at one point. I actually told people to get out at 16. That makes me look like a genius, and you can probably go back in at 6, or 8. But the idea is, why would we do something that embarrasses this guy? Whether it doesn't matter whether you like him or you don't like him. I mean, basically, there's a pro crypto speech once a week. So why would you, unless it was just somebody taking advantage of Baron Trump, who, by the way, has his own. There is a Baron Trump meme coin. Okay. So this thing is saying, hey, it's continuing to surge. Obviously, from this chart, you can see on the 15-minute chart of DJT, this does what most meme coins do, which is go way up, way down, and then you have to decide whether or not you want to buy it. Personally, if you go back and you look at the kind of the original Trump coin, I mean, this is really unbelievable what they did to this thing. Like, supposedly in this, whales completely panicked. Let's do some fib work on this. I mean, this is really incredible. And I'm sure there's people with some heavy bags in this thing that were like panicking when this happened, right? I mean, 62% retracement on this was 686. Okay. And that square consolidation up there was probably bullish, but, overall, this could be constructive because watch this. I mean, the market is going to need leadership from somewhere. Right now, it's not getting it from the traditional coins. Kind of hoping that this is the coin that maybe gives us some leadership, because the whole reason for this thing going down was bunk, right? So, that's a perfect 5-wave uptrend and a perfect sideways correction. So this is of interest to me. Okay. And then, see, Trump vowing to end Biden's war on crypto in another rousing speech. I mean, as far as Joe Biden goes, I mean, it just gets worse every day. I don't understand why they don't address that. I don't. Okay, so here are the names of the people involved. We have Zach XBT. We have guys betting online as to whether or not it's actually Trump affiliated or not. Really? Is this what we're doing in crypto these days? Like, this and the Tether thing scared me. They just scare me. Okay, let me see if I can bring in the Tether thing. Yesterday in the Goldman Sachs, the ex-Goldman Sachs chat room, somebody put an article in from the Daily Mail, which oddly was then put up in Times Square, that somebody is trying to get into Tether's books to talk about Tether being used for illicit activities. Now, I don't think Tether is being used for illicit activities any more than any other banking system platform. However, it is a little weird that the market is like down only. Like, who is sitting on the market? So I really have no desire to be the most loathsome creature in all of crypto, which is the late stage bear, because I'm not bearish. But I'm also kind of like, hey, man, who's selling this? What? And you know what? If this is not the reason for the market going down, then the market will sit here for 2 days and then rip to the upside. I forgot to bring that positive up. In other words, If we're all done being stupid in meme coins and everybody who's had to sell has sold, and this is not a real story, then the market should go screaming higher. It really should. And it's okay if it takes a day or two to get going. It's okay. I mean, I'm not happy. We'll go through the charts. I mean, there's still a lot of resistance, but if it was just a BS liquidation, it's just that I don't remember seeing liquidations like this in the past, really, except after like DeFi summer, right? DeFi summer was in 2020. And then you had this major decline in the fall because people just got way too bullish and way too long. Okay. So Solana goes to a 45-day low. I would prefer Solana to come back quickly. Okay. Now we have Andrew Tate as a Solana analyst. Like I said, I want to try to stay positive because I think when I look at this, when I have guys like this calling for a new all-time high, I'm glad that he's positive on Solana and he's not stupid. He's been around crypto. I just would prefer something, ironically, more bearish in the media, right? Bridging Bitcoin and Ethereum, layer 2s on Bitcoin will be an enormous trade, when this thing gets going again. They're going to build different things on Bitcoin, and hedge funds are going to be sorry that they were short Bitcoin miners because the layer 2 activity that's going to occur on Bitcoin is eventually going to create bigger blocks because it all has to be cleared at the end of the day on Bitcoin. And don't forget Hamster Combat, right? Or Karate Combat, which is also a great, great crypto game. Okay. Karate Combat is fighting with humans where you bet on an app. So let's go through Karate Combat for just a second. You bet on an app in Karate Combat on who's going to win the fights. Now, what you'll do is you buy the token inside an app in order to make a bet. If you lose your bet, you don't lose your token. Now you're like, well, how is this profitable? Well, what they're getting you to do is effectively buy the token and auto stake it, right? So you're buying the token, and the bigger the bets you make, you never lose your tokens. But if you win tokens, right? So it's like staking. Now, of course, people don't realize that in order to get the tokens off the app, you'd have to do like a bridge to the Hedera blockchain, which, your average normie and probably half of your crypto people don't know how to do. So once you get crypto into the Karate Combat app, it's not going anywhere. And if that ever got big, I mean, I went to the event at Consensus and that was like really, really unbelievable. Okay, let's see who else is here. F. Morales is here. Boss is here. Good morning. Kane. MY. VA Buds is here. SGSG. Cabo. Tom. Good morning. Okay. Saeed is asking for short-term Bitcoin TA. Let's talk about that. All right. Okay, so the TA world is very simple. Actually, before we do the TA world, let me just check where the market is before I do a whole bunch of live TA. Okay, so right now, just checking, looks like the market's pretty copacetic. So it's 9:30 in the morning, East Coast time. Bitcoin's flat, ETH's up 1%, and Solana is flat. You would have thought after yesterday that this market would be, frankly, much higher. But I'm willing to give it a day or two. So the blue line is the largest 10 stocks. And this blue line shows how big the largest 10 stocks can get versus this dark blue line, which is the rest of the market, the rest of the stock market. So obviously, even though it is ridiculous that, 7 stocks are up only, and the whole rest of the stock market is down only. This can continue, right? As nauseating as it is for crypto people, this can continue. So, everybody's saying, oh yeah, buy NVIDIA, dump everything else. They may have a point. Now, let's talk about the DeMark work in Solana. So I would prefer to see Solana above 140. Can't seem to get that to happen. This DeMark work in Solana shows the first leg of a trend being done. Now, is it like over here where you saw this particular signal, this 9 signal, and then that was like a top, and then the market went down, and this would be the 9 signal, and then you would get a bottom? That seems pretty straightforward, right? Okay. Now, what isn't straightforward is, sometimes when you have this 9 signal and then you get a failed rally, the trend can continue. This is a daily chart. So I would like to see Solana get above 140 in the next 48 hours, like today and tomorrow. And if that happens, then everything is fine. Actually, everything could be great, to be honest, because, sometimes when you do this, like, oh, failed rally, oh my God, it's bearish, and then come back and go up, that can be very constructive. Okay, but I need to see the rally, right? We need somebody to come in and buy the daylights out of this thing. Now, hopefully the bears are scared and don't want to be short, giving the bulls a day or two to come in and get long. But now would be a good time. Okay, Solana on Lux Algo, okay, there is, resistance between 137 and 144, confirming what we see in the DeMark world. So Solana, I think the market, and Bitcoin is fine. The market as a whole rises and falls with Solana, right? I don't know. ETH has got all this positive news and hasn't rallied, but ETH hasn't done anything all year. The altcoin universe rises and falls with Solana. Now, you've had massive liquidations, near all these different coins bounced, and they're going to continue to bounce, probably, right? Because they were down so much. We can't have stuff down 10% every day for a week and not bounce. The question is, are people going to come in and are people going to say, okay, I missed Solana at 128, so I'm going to pay 145 because I got to get in because, my FOMO is so extreme, my hair hurts and my teeth itch. I keep asking, where's the bid? We should see it in the next 2 days. Okay, Bitcoin is the same deal, right? Should be a bottom, wasn't the bottom. Now we got kind of one more chance to get something really good going, and hopefully we do. Because who wants to be negative? Nobody. I don't want to be negative, right? Now, I still do believe in portfolio adjustments. If you have to make adjustments, if stuff's not coming back, or if you're not, if you don't believe the fundamentals of the coin anymore, but there's nothing wrong with the fundamentals of Near. DGen has a story. Arrow has a story. Velodrome is owned by a politician. So I'm not telling you to sit on your hands and do nothing, but you can give this 24 to 48 hours. You can. See what happens, right? I mean, I want to see a rip-roaring bid in 72 to 48 hours. Now, somebody was asking me about tactical short-term Bitcoin technicals. So Bitcoin has to get above 66K. That's the minimum. Like, I don't want to see any of this 64 or 65 thing. We need some punch to try to take out this big resistance block up here. Okay. So again, I can go through a more short-term chart, but that's what I'm thinking. Ethereum has to punch through 3,500. That's the location of a DeMark resistance point. 3573 is also a resistance point on Lux Algo. Let's get some punch going. Like, Solana punches above 140 and Ethereum takes out 3,500, especially since there's a lot of good news for Ethereum. That brings everything else with it, Bitcoin included, right? Bitcoin, I think, is just fine. I mean, unless you have like a tether-related calamity, I don't see the case for lower Bitcoin at this time. So here's DGen bouncing off 0.0074. That was a level that I had. Now Lux Algo has flipped. You could have 0.0124 or 0.0155. So this was clearly a give up trade in DGen. And now it's going the other way. And you have similar Lux Algo signals down here in things like I checked Phantom and Near. Okay, yeah, here's Near, right? I mean, Near could go all the way up to $6, and the real resistance in Near isn't actually up here until 7. So if altcoins want to get going, there's room to get going. Okay, let's go back to sharing screen and wrap it up with tactical Bitcoin TA. So I usually go to an 89-minute chart for this and just see what I get. Okay, so predictably, right? Bitcoin went to 65, and that should have been a level where, you know, bulls need to punch through there. It's a volume area. There is evidence here, sorry, on this oscillator that, you know, a big move could be coming, maybe. There's also a case that this could be a head and shoulders bottom. So there are reasons to be constructive, and I don't want to be a late stage bear. I probably got a little bit too hyped up about not getting wrecked. And I'm still of the opinion that, you know, there's bullish stuff here and hesitancy is okay, but we do need to see a bid quickly. Okay, so let's see if there are any more. Okay, what is Hamster Combat? Hamster Combat is a Telegram game. Okay, best platform to get into trading. Okay, I actually like starting with Coinbase, and I know a lot of guys use Bybit. Okay, so Daniel Plays Paintball asks an interesting question. What is a black swan? Okay, a black swan is an event that can't possibly be foreseen. And it kind of sneaks up on you, and all of a sudden it's a massive problem. Sometimes black swans, like 2008, they creep up on you. In other words, it looks like a small problem that's actually a gigantic problem, or it's just something that comes out of nowhere, right? Like, I don't know, like some sort of war development or a problem with Tether, or something is wrong with the health of the president of the United States, something like that, right? It's a completely unforeseen event, or it's a seen event that has a completely unforeseen result. So that's the definition of a black swan. Okay, Swift C. Huh. Haven't heard of Swift C. Let me see. Okay. Don't have that. Okay. Don't have that. Maybe that's a typo. Maybe drop that in the economics chat group. Okay. Yeah. Somebody says FTX is a black swan. Correct. Right. Something so big and so awful, it can't possibly be true. Okay. I'm wrapping this up. It would be a good time to see a rally. The market needs to show that people want to pay higher prices. If you don't get that, the market is either going to sit here and do nothing, or is vulnerable to whoever was selling to begin with. I can't possibly get bearish on crypto, but you do have to continue to ask yourself, can I tolerate this portfolio if the market does go down? You don't have to worry about it today, but the best days to make the adjustments are days when things are calm. But getting bearish crypto is insane, because one day we're going to need crypto, and that day is actually here. So let's cheer for a big rally in Bitcoin, and let's cheer for some upside in Solana. So that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow.